A bluff in PLO. Say a few words here. Okay. Unlike in other forms of poker, in PLO, bluffs are typically not cold bluffs. They're typically semi-bluffs. So, for example, let's say you have a overpair to the flop. You have pocket queens. The flop comes, let's say, Jack 8-6. Now, normally in PLO, unless you improve a pocket pair, a high pocket pair, or any pocket pair for that matter, but even with a high pocket pair, unless you improve it on the flop to at a very minimum 2 pair, but preferably to something like a straight draw, flush draw, or of course a set, unless you improve it, you're supposed to really slow down, perhaps not even bet, and not even call a bet. So in a case like this, the flop is Jack 8-6 and your opponent bets, most tight players will fold here, which would be correct. But the fact of the matter is, though, that in some cases, they don't have you beat yet. Now, a typical retort to that is that even though they don't have you beat yet, they can still be a favorite. Okay, because given all the draws, let's say he has a 5-7-9, right? So he has a wrap. Let's say he has 9-10 queen, he has a different wrap. Let's say he has a flush draw and a pair. Let's say he has 2 pairs and he has you beat already. But even if he doesn't have 2 pairs, he might have flush draw. So there's a lot of draws, and especially if you have combined draws, then he definitely has a statistical edge over you. And so the obvious retort is, yes, you are supposed to fold, even though he doesn't technically have the best hand yet, but the draw is so powerful that your queens are no longer the favorite. But the problem, though, with that, with his reasoning is that, for one, what if he doesn't? What if he has no draw, just a pair, and he's bluffing you? And secondly, given the size of the pots, typically you will have raised pre-flop, or there will be some dead money in the pot already. And if you're folding now, and he's only a very slight favorite due to his draws, then you're giving up a certain amount of equity. And nevertheless, it is correct to fold. So how should you feel about this potential bluff? And so my answer to that is that unlike in Hold'em, where reading abilities are much more critical because they can bluff you out sometimes with a hand in which you are let's say an 80% or even more favorite to win. Okay, on a scary board to bluff you out. Let's say an ace hits, right? And he has a smaller pocket pair than yours, and he's representing the ace. Okay, he has a very small chance of beating you. He needs a set basically, and yet you might fold, and that would be a big mistake. But in Omaha, this rarely occurs because most of the time, even in the worst case scenario on a flop like this, Jack 8-6, they're bluffing you with a pair. Okay, and if you have pocket queens and you haven't improved, then your opponent is more likely to catch a hidden 2 pair than for you, right? You cannot basically catch a hidden 2 pair. I mean, you could, but it's a lot less likely. So for you, it's either going to be you're going to hit your queen, or there will be an open pair. But hitting the queen is prohibitive, and an open pair you still won't make you feel that comfortable, because if your opponent is showing aggression, you know he has a pair, you don't know which, and he might even have 2 pair. Bottom line is that it's just your opponent is never too far behind, and it's almost impossible for any reasonably sane player to be showing any sort of aggression on a flop like this without being very close behind you. Something like, let's say, 40%, 45, something like that. Not less than 40, typically. But even if it's less than 40, it's not less than 35. So it's not like Hold'em. And frankly, in a case like this, it's actually, sometimes it's a good thing that they're betting aggressively, because it means that they're going to do it next time when you do have a stronger hand and enough to call. So what I advise is give him the benefit of the doubt, fold, and you'll catch him next time. That's basically it, because remember that if your opponent does have you beat, you don't know how, you don't know which 2 pair, and you're hoping for the board to pair, for you to make 2 pair, but that might give him the full house. So then you have the question again, do you keep him honest? What if he bluffs? What if he senses weakness and he exploits that and he bets again? So you never know what to do. So the best thing is to just fold right then and there. Yeah, in most situations. Of course, there are exceptions, and over time you develop a feel for it, but as a beginner, and if you're not sure, then the best thing to do is just fold.